Freud was easily one of the most influential and controversial figures of the 20th century. He was nominated I believe, for the Nobel Prize 33 times in 13 years, but was also never awarded. And several prominent scientists nominated Freud, but Einstein refused to endorse Freud. I think he credited Freud only for his literary skill and not his scientific skill. Scholars have called Freud everything from a genius to an innovator, master, and a giant among the makers of the modern mind. But he has also been called a plagiarist, a cocaine-addled liar, an egomaniac, a sex-obsessed charlatan, and the world's foremost pervert.
These boots are made for walking. Whoa, Ned, old Ned. That's New Age Ned, my chronic sidekick. These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you. Well, not you personally. Don't take anything personal around here. You like my pink unicorn? Check it out. I found that at the store. A special pink unicorn for my tea. Well, let's get serious here. I put Ned here because he got tired of being second billing, so I told him he was in front, and he believed me, but he's actually in the back. I'll show you. We're going to have a serious show today. What the heck? These cameras, I can't figure them out for nothing. There he is. There's Nad. You see, he's sitting behind me, but he doesn't realize that. Don't tell him. You see my wizard staff? Look. Check it out. I found this at my fruit farm. Actually, my wife's fruit farm, but I paid for it and I gave it to her, and I worked there for 10 years before the neighbors threatened to kill me, so I came home and started making movies instead because I want to live for a long time. Isn't that cool? That grew out of the ground like that. I've had this for many years. All right, let's get this show on the road. I need a better piece of plywood for Ned to dance on, but first things first. Don't want to buy a whole sheet of plywood just to cut one little strip out of it, but my plywood is too thick. To get everything ship shape here and get started on this movie. Try to get centered in the middle of the screen. Where in the heck is I supposed to sit? Okay. Oh, that's just about perfect. There, make this look just right so you can see my whole hat. We're going to have a real good movie today. Serious topic today, as always. Howdy. This here's Professor U.D. Guru. I forgot to look at the camera. Howdy. Who cares? Anyway. Finish up my tea real quick. Hope you're not in a hurry because I'm not. As soon as I finish up this here movie, I got to go outside and dig up some mud out of the bottom of a muddy hole. Because it's, it's a compost hole, so I got to put some compost around my trees. Okay. All right, let's get started. Where's my script? I'm going to read to you from something I wrote yesterday. Freud invented psychotherapy because he fell into a circumstance in Vienna where a lot of rich, pampered Viennese people who had too much money and too much time on their hands were exhibiting extremely odd behavior and emotional dysfunction. Scroll, scroll, scroll. You see, if I get some software, I could just sit here and look at the camera and this stuff will just scroll all by itself. A close friend of Freud's was tired of trying to help these self-indulgent. A close friend of Freud's was tired of trying to help these self-indulgent, annoying people, and turned his client list over to young, financially needy Freud, who saw a market niche. I mean, he was not. There were no such things as psychiatrists in those days. He wasn't in that business. He operated a microscope for his living, and he didn't have much money. But he saw a market niche, and he invented mental illness. You see the air quotes. They're like this, but mental illness. He didn't. I don't think he made up that term, but he might have. I don't know. Someone did. Because that term didn't always exist, Crazy used to mean crazy. Look at that crazy son of a bitch over there. What's wrong with him? Well, here come Freud and said, well, I know what's wrong with him. I'll write a whole bunch of fancy-sounding papers and books about it. Make myself sound extremely intelligent while saying all kinds of ridiculous nonsense. That's Freud. So he invented the notion of, this is scientific, and I'm going to say this because I'm so smart, but yeah, I'm smarter than you. I'm a professional, and I've got nicer clothes than you, and I published a bunch of stinking papers trying to make myself look like a Mr. Smarty Pants. But yeah, he turned crazy or annoying into an industry by reframing bad behavior, antisocial behavior, misfitism, into a medical diagnosis, an illness, a disease of the mind, and declared himself able to cure it, even though he was lying, because he never cured anybody of anything in his life. He just wrote a bunch of fancy-sounding garbledygook, psychobabble. But he became the father of modern psychiatry and psychology in their 1001 grasping tentacles. What Freud's friend found annoying about these self-involved society ladies, Freud saw as a great opportunity to gouge and keep on gouging, because psychoanalysis, like reincarnation or changing the oil on your car, is not designed to ever end. And I know I'm well aware that psychoanalysis itself is no longer the popular thing. I suppose there's still people doing it, because there's probably still people who think of it as a status symbol or something, to be in perpetual analysis. But that's where it started. And let's just see where it ended up. By elevating informal counseling to an officially recognized pseudoscience, and I can say this because being officially recognized doesn't make anything better than a scam. It's just officially recognized, and the officials can be any kind of con artists they want. If people look up to them, people look up to them. There doesn't have to be no rhyme nor reason to it. People seek out an authority, someone to follow. sheeple, I should say. Freud founded a new industry. Doctors who didn't have to get their hands dirty and had access to drugs such as cocaine for their personal use. In the case of Freud, he had a very bad drug problem. Mental institutions had something to offer society because a good percentage of socially incapable people were so annoying and or dangerous that they needed to be kept away from the rest of us. Unfortunately, the institution of psychiatry had no conscience because only people have consciences, and not all of them do. Since the institution of psychiatry has no conscience, they came up with brilliant ideas like electroshock and lobotomy, which were heavily marketed as solutions until people got wise. How many times did you see the one who flew over the cuckoo's nest starring Jack Nicholson? And oh my goodness, there's so many people got their start in that movie. The little guy, he's a big fat bald guy now, but he's still short. Not Robert De Niro, he's just short in the head. Anyway, you know who I'm talking about. The guy also who was on Taxi, which I never watched, but I guess it was pretty good. And also, what do you call that thing? Back to the Future. He played Doc, He got his start on there. Also, there was a tall, funny-looking Italian guy named Vincent something or another. He was in Amadeus, which was made by the same guy. Some foreigner, Milos Forman. He made Cuckoo's Nest and that other movie I was talking about. The Big Break, because we're talking about electroshock and lobotomy. The Big Break and electroshock and lobotomy were not popular for a long time because they were so very, 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 very evil. And the people who marketed them were so very, 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 very wrong to do so. The big break was psychiatric drugs, which worked better than straitjackets and padded rooms to keep crazy people from wandering around the asylum looking for trouble. By selling these brain-killing poisons as if they were medicine, and quoting testimonials from supposedly scientific studies that were basically advertisements bought under the table by the drug companies, the badge of medical authority became attached to the poisons used to keep crazy people in their chairs down at the booby hatch. While barbiturates and other tranquilizers got a bad reputation for being poisonous and addictive and causing the deaths of several famous people, including Judy Garland and Tammy Wynette, and later on, Michael Jackson and others, the connection between psychiatry and drugs got stronger and stronger. Advertising campaigns are clogging the airwaves, at least in the U.S. I don't think other countries allow any such a thing, but yeah. Pretty soon a new word came into play, meds. They don't have to say tranquilizers anymore. They never have to say barbiturates. They just say meds. I don't even know if barbiturates are still used. I suppose they probably are. Meds. How innocuous. Like a cute nickname for the most wonderful thing ever, medicine. Formulas and brands proliferated, and psychiatric meds became commonplace outside of the mental institutions and clinics. Phrases like "my therapist" are now bandied about like status symbols. Who wouldn't want to be a pampered aristocrat with too much time and money on their hands? Someone who has the wherewithal to fall apart and then pay a professional to put them back together. Has anyone noticed that all this happened at the same time that the extended family morphed into the nuclear family? Mom and Dad are at work, Granny is a demented pest, and Uncle Jed won't shut up about the good old days. Where the heck did I put my phone? Oh, there it is. It's glued to my hand. With so many solutions available in tablet form, the illnesses just needed to be invented so people would have reasons to buy the solutions. Illnesses, invented illnesses. The medical establishment says it. It's true. They're the authorities. They write those papers that nobody can read. Nobody does read, I suppose. I don't know. Well, why do you read them? You read them because you want to sell something. You want a quote so you can sell something. Insurance got involved, which pretty much ensures that nothing honest or above board or responsible will get in the way from here on out. The insurance industry is so obscenely profitable that everyone involved could jack up their prices to a psychotic degree and without conscience. Insurance will pay for it, don't worry. Charge as much as you want. So human nature itself came under attack and lost, as it always does, when someone sells us on the notion that weakness is strength. In the 60s, it was meditation and communes and Eastern religions in response to the disillusionment with organized religions. Before long, the hippies were all cleaned up and driving SUVs and getting second mortgages to pay for all their kids to have that all-important family priest, the therapist. You can't talk to my kid that way. He has ADHD. She's autistic. She's a special child. Hover parents united under the banner of self-improvement because comfort had created a useless species to stumble drunkenly around on the planet and gather gizmos unto their oversized ticky-tacky suburban castles and eat too much overpriced gourmet food all the time while their kids grew up with no idea what the world was like before therapists, meds, smartphones, and social media took away any personal responsibility for who they are. For every personality trait, there is now a corresponding personality disorder. We don't have personalities anymore. We have personality disorders. Boomer lady now brags to her grandchildren, "I'm taking meds too, and probably will the rest of my life. Now be a good boy and take your medicine. It will make you feel better." Reminds me about a story of a snake that I read somewhere. Somewhere along the line, we were sold on the idea that marriage is about romance. So here comes ubiquitous divorce in single-parent households. There goes the neighborhood. The extended family is what made the human race strong and adaptable. Not the cities, not scientific progress, the extended family. The child has parents, two of them, If one of them dies, the other one gets married again. Doesn't matter who, to a certain degree, obviously. But the responsibility is to provide two parents for the child, as well as aunts and uncles and grandparents living next door or down the street. The child never has time for teen angst. They're working. They're solving their problems by going to Granny and Gramps and saying, "Hey, man, what do I do?" And the old people, they know what's going on because they grew up in an extended family too. Somewhere along the line, we were sold on the idea that happiness is the reason for living. So here comes constant, endless, effortless entertainment in the form of television, internet, video games, smartphones, and social media. Booze and marijuana addiction will help with the finer details of destroying civilization. But in case anyone fails to fall into that trap, there's always the hard stuff, including prescription opiates and those hallowed meds to boost us over lemming leap. Happiness is not the reason for living. Living is the reason for living. Stop chasing happiness. Oh, I'm not a Christian. I'm kind of a radical pseudo-Buddhist, in case you're interested. I can still speak of stories about snakes because I'm a pseudo-Buddhist. That means I could also read the Bible if I want to. And I don't want to because I already did. But anyway, stop chasing happiness. Get off your ass. Turn off your computer and do something. Preach on, brother. Preach on. Make something. Fix something. Clean something. Meditate, which is to say, do nothing with purpose, but for no reason. Because ain't nothing I like less than someone who brags about how much they meditate. If you're going to meditate, here's my suggestion. Rename it something else and then don't tell anybody about it. I call it Blaffenwegel. It means stop the internal dialogue. It's impossible. And that's why you have to try and do it, because it's so important. Just stop trying to force yourself to be happy. It's not what it's about. It's not about how you feel. It's about what you experience and what you do. The word emotion means ex-motion, and that means move out. Emotion is literally short for ex-motion, which means move out, like a bowel movement. Emotion is supposed to be experienced as the expression or pressing out, expression, express, pressing out, the pressing out of psychic waste products. Emoting is in the same category as peeing, pooping, sweating. You got to do it. But that doesn't mean you should be rolling around in it, especially in public. Somebody tried telling the lib-triffids, being more emotional than me doesn't make you smarter than me, more right than me, more righteous than me, or better than me. I tried being a libtard. Lib-triffid, I should say. I tried it. And I had plenty of time to, because I'm one old sumbitch. By 1984, Reagan's worst idea, closing the mental institutions, not that he closed them all, but he closed a lot of them. And in two waves. He did it as California's governor, and then he did it as president. But Reagan's worst idea was a key contributor to the soft-on-crime mode of encouraging civilization to shit itself to death. The Freudsters hijacked the human spirit, replacing personalities with personality disorders and replacing law and order with toxic compassion. Emotional diarrhea now rules the day, since we've let government turn to snot. So instead of loving our country and our family, we love criminals. The crazies have been walking the streets so long that we've come to terms with their dangerous and often murderous ways of trying to get locked up so they can get their teeth fixed and eat actual food 2 or 3 times a day and sleep in a bed at night. Well, I don't know if you could call those beds. I'm not sure what kind of bed they have in prisons. Wouldn't know. But it's, it can get kind of tiresome to sleep under the stars and freeze your butt off all night. I tried it a couple of times. I slept in a rainstorm once in the mountains. I'll tell you that story sometime. We feel sorry for criminals now, not for victims. Because we're all bozos on this bus. We're all guilty. We're all sick. We all owe each other reparations. And there, but for the grace of dumb luck and suburbanism, could go I, the poor, poor criminals. Let 'em out. Let 'em experience tent living on the sidewalk. Poor things. Putting the wackos on the street, closing the mental institutions, was the first step to legalizing crime. Maybe the second step. I think street drugs might have been the first step, and that began with the hippie movement, which I was all for and participated in a series of, extended adolescences. We can no longer tell the difference between criminals who do crime for money and crazies who can't help it, because they're all one horde of savages now, all roaming the same streets looking for trouble. So they all get the same pity party treatment. And who amongst us doesn't have at least 3 personality disorders anyway? Poor things. Those poor, dysfunctional things creeping around on the sidewalk, hitting Granny over the head and stealing her purse. Those poor criminals. Buzzwords and name-calling and deification of self-pity replace dialogue in the Sesame Street remake of Civilization. Nothing that takes more than 60 seconds is worth doing. Which is why I have long introductions to my videos, because I don't want you to watch my videos if you're already a zombie. But in our times, if someone annoys you with an actual conversation, they are simply dismissed as that unfiltered uncle or grandmother or stepmother who some idiot keeps inviting to dinner. Welcome to the world we live in. Thanks for showing up. This is Professor U.D. Guru. I'll see you in the next movie. Bye-bye.